about Starlink coming in and other means of connecting?
So that was one of the changes that they made at the beginning, was to add that as a reliable form of service, which satellite is not always reliable, but if you're in an area where you have access to nothing, it's better than nothing. As far as we know, all of the projects in Berry County are going to be fiber direct to home.
Okay.
So.
And on the 1,000 units that are planned development, is that a 12-month, 18-month? What's the time frame for getting those online?
So it varies. Some
They're in
of
all
them,
different stages.
Yeah, some of them are coming up in the next couple of months. We have a handful. The units that are at Mill Street Market should be end of year, or not Mill Street Market, but Riverwalks. And then some are in the early planning stages. So Stepping Stones is still early planning stages. There are a handful in the city of Hastings that they have been approved, but they haven't started construction yet. So anywhere from the next 3 months to probably 18 months out, we'll start to see these units coming on the market, depending on if they're multi-family or single-family developments.
Fantastic.
And that's on top of the 987 we've already completed since 2020.
So almost 1,000 completed, 1,000 more in progress.
Yes.
I'd say we're ahead of the learning curve.
We are. And even Detroit's coming to us asking how we're doing it. Yeah.
That could be scary.
Yeah.
You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you.
I really appreciate the reports going out to everybody, because I've always got them, and I've given them some commissioners, but now that they're getting them and everybody can see them, just keep up the great work.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you all.
Next on our presentation list this morning, Rebecca from Health.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for inviting me today. And before I get started, I just want to say that the health department would be an active participant in what Jeff was referring to with the bill. It has some septic and water concerns, well concerns that I'd be happy to be a part of if we're going to oppose that as one unit. So for those of you who haven't met, I think I've met everyone. My name is Rebecca Condon, and I have been the health officer at the health department since October, and I'm really happy to be here sharing the annual report with you from 2025. I have seen firsthand this year how our team responds to challenges, from disease outbreaks to environmental health concerns, and I'm super proud to lead this organization. Everybody on my team takes our mission very seriously every day. This annual report reflects not just what we've accomplished, but who we are, which is a local health department rooted in our communities, responsive to our residents, and accountable to the people that we serve. As we talk about and you read through some of these pages, I hope you see the depth and the variety of the work that we do, and so much of it, most of it really, happens quietly and behind the scenes, and our only goal is to keep families and our neighbors and our community healthy and safe. So I'm going to start on page 6, if you'd like to follow along, and talk to you a little bit about our personal and community health division. This team is dedicated to supporting the health and well-being of people of all ages in this county. Our team provides a wide range of services, including immunizations, vision and hearing screenings, lead screenings, WIC, TB tests, and many, many more. You can see at the bottom the numbers that we provided for 2025. One of the ones that I want to point out is total communicable disease investigations. That number is the amount of total communicable diseases that were reported to our office, so 20,665. The amount of hours that those investigations took is that times 7 or 8. Somebody in our department called every single person, touched base with them, talked to them about their communicable disease, and then had to get the names of the people that they were with while they were contagious. Then we call all of those people to try to touch base and stop that communicable disease from spreading. So I just want to highlight that. It's an incredible, incredible job that our disease investigators do every day, all day long. If we go to page 8, this is going to be environmental health. So this division is a very, very busy division. You can see by the numbers there that Berry County is outpacing Eaton County in sewage and septic finals, and in site evaluations, and in septic permits. This county is growing very, very quickly, and we have a dedicated staff to make sure that all of those projects, people building homes or in businesses, can continue on a schedule and a calendar that fits with everything. The other thing that is really great and really important is our food inspections. So 1,340 food inspections. That is the number of both counties. We didn't break it out by county, but that is a significant number. Where there's 365 days a year. We're not open every day. We're doing a lot of food inspections every day, and that's a really an important part of our work because we are directly impacting public health by the amount of food inspections we're doing to make sure that people are getting served healthy and safe food in a safe way. Next page on page 9 is emerging threats. This is one of the things that is part of the mission of the health department, is to identify emerging threats so that we can make a plan to stop them from becoming bigger threats. One of the things that we're focusing on is vector-borne diseases, which would be ticks and mosquito-borne diseases, and certainly bats and things like that. But Lyme disease right now is one of our focus areas. Lyme disease nearly doubled from 2024 to 2025, which is the highest number it's been in a decade. I'm not going to speculate on why that is happening. I'm just going to tell you that we are tracking it. We are making sure that the community is aware of where the Lyme ticks are being found so that people can take the precautions that they feel is necessary to protect themselves and their families. Page 10 is our planning and promotion evaluation division. They are our health educators, so their work is mainly presentations, community communication, data collection, analysis. They go to community events, and they are our team that sits on community boards and does a lot of presentations and builds partnerships. One of the really incredible things that we have done in 2025 is created health resource vending machines. These vending machines are all over both counties, and they provide free harm reduction supplies to anybody who wants them. So inside these vending machines, there are Narcan kits, condoms, fentanyl and xylazine test strips, first aid kits, menstrual supplies, lots of different things in these vending machines, and anybody who needs any can go up and get them. So there is a photo of one that's in our Berry County office, again, completely free to anybody who needs it. On page 12, I want to highlight emergency preparedness. This is a staff member I have. Her name is Maddie. She works very closely with Patrick, and they do all things preparedness. So from weather events to the Rock the Country, different flooding scenarios, anything like that, anything that could happen in terms of a disaster or emergency, Maddie and Patrick are working hand in hand together to prepare our county the best we can, and from a public health perspective, talking about or being at the table so that we can say, Rock the Country is a great event, Patrick, you handle all of this, but if there's a communicable disease outbreak, Maddie can be involved from the start so that we can have some good control, or as much control as we can over that. Maddie does a lot of biosurveillance for the county. That would include any type of chemicals. Our big, we have some Meyer and Amazon distribution centers, certainly Bradford White and some of the bigger manufacturers in our county. We keep an eye on what chemicals they're using and how they're disposing those, just to make sure we're protecting soil and waterways. The finance report is on page 13. If you're interested, we netted zero for fiscal year 2025, which is always the goal. So happy to take any questions that you might have.
Commissioner Getty, you're on the Health Department board.
Our wonderful chair.
Great report. I mean, a real concise summary of what we do, and I really appreciate you coming and presenting. The last page, on where we get our money to do all these, these wonderful things above and beyond what we're statutorily required to do, for instance, the vending machine.
Yes.
And the impact. We'll never know the number of overdoses that those have prevented. And that's because people in your office have made the extra effort to apply for grants to be able to provide those kind of preventative measures. So I think there's sometimes a misconception of where our money comes from, and we've gone through a year of huge transitions with funding, unexpected funding shortfalls, and we've reacted to that, and we've all sat through those meetings. But I think, this is a real nice snapshot of where we get our money and where we spend it, and how we've really been very intentional on how to serve our communities in the best way possible.
Yeah.
And I couldn't not say how impressed that I've been with Rebecca, and she has a big, important job and big shoes to fill, and she's done just an absolute tremendous job.
Thanks. Not alone, with a good team behind me.
Of course.
Commissioner Tunison. Also Board of Health.
I am. And I remember when she applied for this job, first thing I said to her, "Are you ready for this?" Because she knew that there was some big challenges, right? I mean, between the funding cuts from the federal government, funding cuts from Eaton County, Berry County, losing staff. Nobody realizes just how many challenges that she had. And I think you've lived up to all of our hopes and gone up and beyond. Okay.
Appreciate
so,
that.
You're a good leader. You know how to listen to people. I think your employees respect you. And I think that goes a long ways on how you're a good leader.
Thank you.
Okay. So
Yeah.
we made the right choice. Okay. So.
Commissioner Gamba.
Well, it's hard to follow those two. But I will say this, I think one of the toughest jobs as commissioners is when we have very, very important positions to fill. It's always goes through your mind, did you make the right choice? Did you make the right choice? Did you make the right choice? And we made the right choice.
Thank you.
You have fulfilled it. You are always open to discussion, whether it's one side or the other. You're always open to listen, and I found out with Rebecca that if you have an issue or you tell her something personally, it's not just lip service from Rebecca. She takes it, she follows it, and she tells you what's going on. So I really appreciate what you've done.
Yep. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Smelker.
I have nothing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioner Dalton.
I'm glad you brought this information on Lyme disease, because I have a pontoon boat I keep on the Grand River by Lansing, and I take it always up to Diamonddale. And in the last couple of years, I have seen more ticks than I've seen in the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I've talked to other people who observe the same thing, and so we all think, God, there's got to be more Lyme disease. And doubled, you said?
Doubled, yeah. From 24 to 25, yeah, doubled.
So what can be done to control ticks?
I think just general pest control, certainly, with tall socks and pants and DEET on your body. Outside of that, that wouldn't be really my realm.
Do they live in water?
They do not live in water, no.
They're
That would
just
be
around
mosquitoes.
the water?
Yeah.
Because this is all along the river there. They're just bouncing around
Yeah.
everywhere.
A lot of food for them down there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioner Batson.
Yeah, I mean, you've all said everything. Throughout my career, I've worked with county health departments, and I'm really thrilled to see through all this transition that you've risen above that. And I think our community doesn't realize all that the county health department does for us, and we just take it for granted.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate all that you've done.
Yeah. Thanks. I'll take that back to my team.
Couple follow-up questions. Triple E. Are we seeing an increase? I know at one point that was a real concern in the county because of the black swamp and some of the other areas we have that are kind of prone to that. Is there any follow-up treatments planned, anything going on with that right now?
So we have a vector intern that's starting today, and her job this summer will be to collect mosquitoes and send them off for testing, so we can get you some good numbers, probably 2 to 3 weeks before we start seeing some of that back. I haven't heard anything from Lansing, though, yet this year about Triple E.
Okay. And fentanyl, I saw the 2,357 Narcan kits. I'm assuming that is district-wide, that's not just Berry County?
Correct.
Okay. And then 22,600 fentanyl. What is a fentanyl testing strip?
Fentanyl testing strip. So for somebody who is going to use drugs, they can use a test strip that looks like, you know those chlorine strips that you use in a pool and a hot tub? Kind of looks like that. You put some of the drugs that you're going to use on it, and it will tell you if there is fentanyl or xylazine in those drugs.
Basically telling you if your drugs are safe.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. 22,650 seems like a lot.
It is a lot.
So are we seeing I don't want to say an epidemic, but an increase in fentanyl use of those types of drugs in the district?
That might be a better question for our law enforcement team, but it certainly is an epidemic in our country, yes. There's definitely a need for harm reduction.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate the information. It's good to see we haven't seen a health department presentation for a few years. So it's good to be back and help with you, a regular visitor for us.
Glad to be back. Thanks.
Thank you, Rebecca. Okay. And our final presentation.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm going to make it brief. I don't think we've ever presented this to this board. So thanks for having me here this morning. This will be my first and last time presenting this before you. So, I know that a copy of this went out in the packet, but I've also handed out the printed color packet. The first couple pages just break down, I highlight some things that we did over the year, talks about our boards. You can see the beautiful photos of our team. I would like to direct your attention to page 5, where we discuss our year in review. And that page typically breaks down employees that had some type of milestone, maybe not necessarily an anniversary, which one of those was. We did have a 20-year anniversary of emergency communicator Kurt Worm. So for 20 years, he's been taking 911 calls. But the two at the top I'd really like to highlight and draw your attention to, not that Kurt's 20 years is not worth commending, it absolutely is. Supervisor Michelle James earned our Here All Year Award for the 3rd year in a row. And what that Here All Year Award is it's based off of attendance, so she used 0 sick time. She had no call-ins, she had no sick time, she was not tardy, she never had to leave early. So for 3 straight years in a row, she's achieved that honor. So that's the first time in my tenure there, in 18 years that's happened, so a pretty great thing. And then the second thing I'd like to highlight is Supervisor Christina Nevins obtained her APCO Registered Public Safety Leader certification. So APCO is the Association of Public Safety Communications Officials. There are 2 professional development certification professional organizations for 911, and they're APCO and NINA. That's a year-long course that she went through to learn all types of things about management of a 911 center, everything from budgeting to setting up training programs to legislation and handling, discipline, that type of thing. So year-long class that she took, and she earned that certification. There are only a handful of them in Michigan, and she is the only one that we have here in Berry County. So really proud of her for that. Talks about a couple promotions on that page, and then we are going to move on to page 8. You'll see our beautiful photos of Rock the Country. I won't bore you talking about that. You've all heard plenty about it, with last year being the first year. There was a lot of trepidation about what that event was going to bring on a communications perspective. It was a lot of work for us. It ended up actually being a really great learning opportunity, not only for myself, but for my team. We do have several dispatchers that hold specific or special certifications or designations through the Michigan ComU, so the Michigan Communications Unit, and they were able to work that incident or that event. So every so many years, they have to work so many events to earn points to keep that certification. And the picture down in the left corner, that's the two of them there, the gentleman with the headset and then the gentleman with the blonde hair looking further away, looking back at us taking the photo. They both have some special certifications and designations to work that type of event. So it was a really great learning thing. I think if you asked around the community, it was about 3 to 1. People being happy with it versus being unhappy with it. The number one type of call that we took where after the event was done, we took hundreds of 911 calls regarding parking and traffic control, which there was nothing that we could do. I know our sheriff's office worked really hard to do everything that they could with the traffic, but egress and ingress there is difficult with there only being the one way in and out. So a lot of the calls that we took were from that. The next couple pages just talk about our public relations committee. But I would like to turn your attention to pages 11 and 12. This is one of the larger projects that we did across the county. We implemented paging across 800 megahertz, which was a very large change for most of our fire and EMS agencies. We did have a handful of fire agencies that went prior to the group. So if you look through the reimbursement, if you look through the chart that breaks down the dollar amounts per department, you'll see some that say reimbursement. Those are agencies that chose to migrate before the rest of everybody was absolutely ready to go, and so we did some reimbursement things with those agencies, and they chose to move ahead for a number of reasons. There were some agencies that their pagers were reaching end of life, so they needed to be updated, and there was no point in investing in VHF technology if we knew that we were migrating to 800, and then some basically out of survival. A lot of their mutual aid, Thornapple Township, specifically Allegan County and Kent County, have already been operating on 800 for a very long time, so there were communication challenges for mutual aid purposes. So total investment was $154,952.45. That's what 911 was able to allocate to all of those agencies for that change. Does that mean that the 800 megahertz project is over? It does not. I won't be the person here, unfortunately, asking you to approve millions of dollars in grant money for towers, but that is going to have to come at some point in the future. So probably something that my successor will continue working on. We definitely need 2 towers in the south end of the county. So I think the street value for those right now is about $3.5 million a piece. And so when we completed our project, the first leg of our project, the 2 that we built and implemented in 2024, one we purchased for the price of $2.78 million, and the second one we purchased for the price of $2.93 million. And just to remind you, those were solely grant funded. The 911 Authority was not sitting on $6 million. So the first one was funded through ARPA grant, and then the second one was funded through a appropriation with the state of Michigan that Senator Tom Albert and Representative Julie Kelly worked with us on to get that money for that. You look like you have a question, John. No? I was going to say, you know all of these things. All right, so the second thing I'd like to bring your attention to is page 14. This is a 10-year comparison just in the sheer number or volume of incidents that were dispatched between 2015 to 2025. So in 2015, our total calls for service, and when I talk about an incident that's been dispatched, it's something that warranted some type of response from public safety. Sometimes it's all 3. Police, fire, EMS, sometimes just police, sometimes fire, sometimes just EMS. So in 2015, we dispatched 36,819, but in 2025, we were up to 57,285. So that's an increase of 55.59%. So the reporting systems and the systems that we use for analytics at dispatch are pretty sophisticated. So not only do we use them for our CAD platform, our computer-aided dispatch, so that's the platform that creates our reports, but it holds the framework of the work that we do every day. It's the backbone of the dispatch center. But then also the 2 different phone systems that we use have some pretty sophisticated analytics that we're able to produce these numbers from. So I think it's really important to touch on that, because as the need for response from public safety continues to increase, most of us have been and are migrating towards out of working with the same staffing models that we've had since the 90s or early 2000s, and it just doesn't work anymore. On to pages 15 and 16, those break down, that's the yearly, they break down by call type, so police, fire, EMS, traffic stops, and MFR is medical first responder. So that's the first level of licensure in the EMS world, and all of our fire departments, except for one, have their MFR designation. The other two, the EMS agencies that cover those townships, provide the MFR designation. All have them. It just depends on whether they come from a fire department or an EMS agency. On to pages 17, that just breaks down, I talked about our sophisticated analytics, that breaks down the different types of calls, the class of service, if you will. We break those down by whether they were a landline call, a wireless call, if it was a text call, a non-emergency line. We do track VoIP over internet protocol, even though everything is IP-based today and VoIP is great. VoIP does present with some unique challenges and differences inside the 911 center based specifically off of location data. So when we have a 911 call that's received, we receive location data, a lot of different types. So depending upon the level of the wireless call, it might be the actual location of the handset. We have location-based routing in Berry County. We implemented that a couple of years ago. But that technology is purely reliant on the information received from the wireless provider. And so it could be what we refer to as a phase 1 call, which is the lat and long, or the actual address of the tower, which isn't great data for us. It just tells us that that device is receiving service off of a sector that's assigned to that tower. If you look at 2025, the second one down, abandoned 911 calls, we still continue to take a significant number of what we refer to as abandoned or unfounded 911 calls. And the FCC mandates that if we have a good lat and long for those calls or good address for those calls, those are dispatchable locations. It's considered a dispatchable location, and those calls have to be dispatched, much to law enforcement's chagrin. They spend a lot of time responding to calls that could be a watch, could be, a child playing with a tablet. Sometimes they are true emergencies, but more oftentimes they are not than they are. And that's a question that when I attend village and township meetings, especially townships, you're working with minimal budgets for their police departments and their fire departments specifically. And so they'll ask me, how can we sort out or how can we change responses to these abandoned calls or these hang-up calls? We can't. We have to take them. So we continue to track that. We do track our outbound calls. You'll see our outbound calls have decreased a little bit. Page 18 is just our operating millage comparison through the years. And then our budget on the back. We do have two different budgets. We have our operating budget, which is millage based, and then we have our state operating budget. If you look at your, any device that can access wireline or wireless that can access 911, the state of Michigan collects a 25-cent technical surcharge. So if you look at your bills, including us at 911, we are not exempt from those. We have to pay them. That 25-cent technical surcharge is remitted to the state of Michigan, and then all of the 911, it's redistributed back out to the 911 centers, and that is based off of per capita, your FTE count, and whether you have met all your training, all your state required training requirements. And so those funds are restricted. Those state operating budgets, we have an allowable and disallowable list, and they are very specific to what those funds can be utilized for. Every 5 years, every 911 center that collects those funds is supposed to go through a compliance review, and we had not had one here in Berry County since 2006, and we were drawn last year. Last year we had our compliance review. We're good. So you have to show receipts for everything that you have spent you have to show your ledgers, everything that you have spent those monies on. And if the committee and the state 911 committee determined that those funds, that those were not eligible expenses, you have to repay it. So it was very important to me that we not be on the naughty list. So we were not. And then the rest of it, I won't bore you with it, is just a strategic plan, my strategic plan. Next year we'll have a different strategic plan. On the back is a beautiful photo of the building, and then all of our social media handles and our website.
Okay. Commissioner Smoker.
First thing I want to do is thank Stephanie for what she's done for our central dispatch. And her leadership has went above and beyond, and she is leaving us at the end of the month but I believe she knew this was coming well in advance because she has been training her replacement for 5 years. One of the first things we done was put in a deputy director. So she's leaving Central Dispatch in good hands, but she will be missed.
Thank you.
Commissioner Getty?
What can I say? Thank you for everything that you've done for us, and just a great summary in the annual report, so thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Dolan?
Thank you, and good luck in where you're going.
Thank you.
Commissioner Bassett?
Yeah, same here. Thanks very much for that. I know you'll do great things for the state.
Thank you.
Commissioner Cruz?
Thanks for your dedication. Had a few conversations with you, and I'll tell you what, I'd never want to take her on in an argument because you're going to lose.
I don't know why you say that.
Because you can rattle off facts like you'd be bringing up stuff that happened 20 years ago, like overnight, like right now. Okay, so I do appreciate you, and best of luck to you. Okay?
Thank you.
Commissioner Campbell?
Well, Stephanie's definitely been in our conversation for a considerable amount of time, and I'm kind of angry at her at this point because I came through that door today and I seen her, and for just a fleeting moment, I thought maybe there was a change. But no way. But we are going to miss you.
Thank you.
You've done so much for 911.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, it has come a long ways in my 10, 11 years of tenure here, just to see text to 911, some of the stuff that Phyllis had implemented, some of the stuff that you took on, getting 2 towers put in place, the leadership in there, you just how well that department's run. And you putting up with John for all those years is really hopefully not the reason you're leaving.
No, and if I could just touch on that for a second, I just want to thank you all for your support through the years. I know the tower stuff became a little bit political because it's incredibly expensive, and I know that there was a lot of angst surrounding that project, and the project was a lot. It was not going to short-side that at all. So I want to say thank you for your support. I know a number of you have reached out to me when you have questions about things that are public safety related or our role in that. This was not an easy decision for me. It was not. It was a difficult decision, but this is an opportunity that probably isn't going to come up again. And so I felt that even though I intended to be here for at least 2 more years, for 20 years, I felt that it probably wasn't going to come around in 2 more years, and I didn't want to look back one day and say, what if? So this is still a position in 911. I'm going to be working for the company that does the call routing, all of the call routing for the 911 centers in Michigan. There's 117 of them. And when an individual presses those 3 numbers, there's a lot of technology that goes on in about 1 to 3 seconds. And so this company provides that. They do all of the call routing. So my predecessor works for the company that supplies the transport media. So she works for the fiber company. So she works for the highway. The company that I'm going to be leaving for provides the car, if you will. They actually deliver the 911 center and then all the data that comes with it. And so this is actually an opportunity where Phyllis and I are going to be channel partners again. So, yeah. So looking forward to that. But I will still be around. There are a couple of things I'm still going to consult with Katie on. John knows that. I will be here to help with Rock the Country, and if I can ever do anything for any of you, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm going to have the same cell number. So.
You know, we've had several conversations over the years, so I appreciate your availability and listening to our issues or questions and concerns. So you've done a good job of handling those professionally in all aspects. So best of luck to your future, and hopefully we'll see you around.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
session.
Whatever.
We have no public hearings this morning. Next on our agenda items for consideration. First of all, we have approval of transfers and disbursements. The chair will entertain a motion for approval of claims to be about $33,124.77.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Call, support by Bassett for approval of claims in the amount of $33,124.77. Is there discussion? Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Carlton?
Aye.
Campbell?
Aye.
Getty? Aye. Smelker?
Aye.
Junison?
Aye.
Bassett?
Aye.
Bassett is absent and Jackson.
Aye. The motion is approved. Next up, we have Matt and Inez. Polyzoom equipment.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
I think the request is pretty straightforward. It's time to upgrade our Polycom or PolyZoom equipment in all of our courtrooms. The state is providing the judges replacements at no charge, and we've always had to purchase the 2 extra equipments for our referee room and our magistrate hearing room. And we're also including the sheriff's department. The jail will need to upgrade their system as well. So they're requesting 3 additional units. Just so you know, I looked back in 2011 when we first started Polycom and implemented that in all our courtrooms. Back then, we spent, the total project cost was $161,393. So things have changed over the last, 15 years, and we're only requesting $29,000. We already currently have $20,000 in our software maintenance line item, so I'm not asking for additional funding, just permission to make the purchase. And the jail.
Yep, so ours are going to come out of Emmy Concert, so it's in our budget already. So I believe it's $9,000 for our units. We're actually going to add a unit, so that's going to help. Just with that technology process, we can put more faces in front of videos, so that'll work out well for us.
And so over the past 15 years at least, we've had several different issues with Polycom with damage, inmates destroying the equipment, and the State Court Administrative Office has very graciously provided us with replacements free of charge. And the only reason we have to update this is the software or the technology is reaching its end of life. So that's basically it.
In the past, the state has a contractor who handles all the Polycom equipment for them, and he's been able to source us replacement parts for things. So recently they had an incident at the jail where an individual broke a camera and they happen to have an extra camera. So if those parts are available, they will do that for us. But if that happens and there are no parts available, then we would have to replace those things at our cost. So they would help us with the programming and the setup for that sort of thing, but they don't they don't guarantee to have an endless supply of parts, but usually they can find something for us.
The upgrade stuff that we're going to get is a little, it's kind of a self-contained unit. We'll be able to secure it way easier than the current stuff we have now. So it's not going to certainly limit it from being damaged, but it's certainly, I believe it's included in the packet, a picture of it. So it's more of a self-contained unit, camera, TV all connected to one. Now it's different parts and pieces, and they can stand up and grab it. So
You put an electrical shock.
Yeah.
Touch it.
Right.
That's an extra feature that they can optionally add on.
I'm sure there's a monthly service for that.
Right. Questions from commissioners? All right, so damage is the key thing with these. Are we going to have extra cameras if one is damaged, or
We can make arrangements to purchase some parts separately for that. It's an option for us. We do try to have stock on hand. The individual who does the replacements is generally in Michigan, so with 3 units at the correctional facility, if one got broken, they would continue to use the other 2 while we got the parts shipped over from the other side of the state. We generally be back in business within a day or 2 at the most.
Okay, so typically not using all 3 at the same time.
No, generally we're using 2 at the same time, so this additional one's going to be beneficial for us in that regard. Where we're going to place it is a little more secure area, so if we do have a known person that is, prone to breaking equipment, we can put them in that area, so it'll be a little bit safer on the equipment. And obviously, anytime we can keep the inmate in the facility, it's safer for the community and to run those functions there. So it just gives us another option and another backup in case something happens. But
Is this going to cut down on transport?
Generally, no, because what we're currently doing now is how we're going to operate. It isn't going to change that, but it also allows us to, other counties to phone in. Generally, the court's using Monday through Friday pretty much all day. The two will have an additional for, say, another county that needs to jump on or another attorney needs to jump on and talk to their client. So it'll just improve our efficiency down there for that.
Ease scheduling pressures. I
Yes.
imagine.
Okay. Additional questions? The chair will entertain a motion for approval to authorize the court administrator and jail administrator to purchase replacement poly-Zoom units for the magistrate and referee hearing rooms, as well as 3 units for the Berry County Jail.
So moved.
Motion by Smelker, support by Tunison.
Yep.
For approval to authorize the court administrator and jail administrator to purchase replacement poly-Zoom units for the magistrate and referee hearing rooms, as well as all 3 units for the Berry County Jail. Any additional discussion? Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Campbell.
Aye.
Getty. Aye. Smelter.
Aye.
Tennyson.
Aye.
Bassett.
Aye.
Halton.
Aye.
Hatfield is absent, and Jackson.
Aye. The motion is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Eric, and probably Pete.
Eric and Pete, yeah.
Blue Shield. This is our annual renewal, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
This, for some reason, we did not get a contract last year, so we're not sure what happened with contacts, but I found it in Luella's email this year. They sent it to Michael and Luella, so they were a little out of date. But this is an annual contract for provision of inmate services with Blue Cross. It allows us to tap Blue Cross pricing for inmate health care. All the particulars in there were just billed when we incur the cost. And it has the savings and the different fees on there. So if there's any specifics on how we do things, obviously Pete's here. He can answer those.
So kind of a run down of how it works is if an inmate needs medical care, we send them to the hospital. We call the company that we deal with here. I think it's Ovid. They provide us a claim number. They work with Blue Cross. Blue Cross sends us a bill. So basically, they administer that for us. It's clearly not insurance. We're self-pay. So they negotiate a rate for us. We pay the rate.
Pretty straightforward.
Interesting. All right. But this is something that, in my memory, we do this every year.
Yes. Every year,
This
yep.
is just something that we have to renew for Blue Cross.
Yep.
I didn't see an amount listed on this, so there's not really a set amount for it because we can't predict what it's going to be throughout the year.
Right, correct.
Okay. So the impact of the budget is question mark.
Yes, well, if there's a need to amend, we'll amend later in the year, but it shows you the 30% admin fee plus the 30% costs and their savings on things, so.
Okay. All right, questions from commissioners?
A question related to what you just asked. So there isn't really a premium. You pay a percentage of what you actually spend. Is it based on the reduced amount, based on your
Yeah, they like Pete said, he sends them to the hospital. They bill us based on the Blue Cross rates.
Yeah. Okay. But then your fee to use their service is that 13%.
Correct. Yeah.
Right? Thank you. That's all I have here.
So if I have a toothache, I can get in, go to jail, and I'll do it at a reduced rate.
You may not want, you may not get the same service.
Well, that's a separate topic.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
That was sort of my thought was, in most of the world, if we use our insurance or something, a lot of times we end up kicking something back into it. There's nothing set up where the person that's receiving the care somewhere along the line has to reimburse something.
Correct.
Or back charged for something. Nothing like that happens.
Nothing, no.
It's free gratis.
We have a requirement.
And we are required to do it, I understand.
Yes.
It's mandated.
Correct.
I wish I could get a part of that policy for myself.
Same sentiment I think all of us have.
We all say that.
And there's no mechanism for requiring a reimbursement like we do with the courts where they'll
Correct,
Pay a
no.
restitution, pay court fees. Okay.
Pregnant lady hits an officer, goes to jail, has a baby, we pay for the baby.
As long as she's in custody, yes. Generally, we'll work with the courts to make sure there's a release. There's unique things that we can do with ongoing medical conditions like that to kind of limit our liability on the cost. But yeah, I mean, if she murdered someone, yes.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. The chair would entertain a motion for approval of the Berry County Inmates Administrative Services Contract with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan for July 1st, 2026 through July 30th, 2027.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Campbell, support by Gay for approval of the Berry County Inmates Administrative Services Contract with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan for July 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2027. Any additional discussion? Madam Clerk, would you call a roll?
Getty.
Aye.
Smoker.
Aye.
Junison.
Aye.
Bassett.
Aye.
Pelton.
Aye.
Getwell.
Aye.
Hatfield's absent, and Jackson.
Aye. Motion is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. Next up, Smith Housing Consulting.
Yes, we're getting ready to get started on our next CDBG housing grant, and we put an RFP out. We got one response. Thankfully, Maryland did put a response in, which we're happy to see. How long have you been doing our housing grants for?
Long time.
22
So 22 years. For the next few, will continue to be served very well by Maryland. This is a pretty boilerplate language. All the fees that she'll charge administration are covered by the CDBG grant, so there's no impact directly to the county outside of our little time to process invoices.
Okay. And this is something we also do on a regular basis here, so.
Sir, yes, sir.
Contracts. Any questions from commissioners? The chair would entertain a motion to approve the contract with Smith Housing Consulting for the CDBG Administration Services for the CDBG Housing Improvement Grant, NDD-2023-769-CDB.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Bassett, support by Tunison, to approve a contract with Smith Housing Consulting for the CDBG Administration Services for CDBG Housing Improvement Grant, NDD 2023-769-CDB. Any additional discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Wait a minute. Roll call, please.
Carlton.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Getty.
Aye.
Smoker.
Aye.
Junison.
Aye.
Bassett.
Aye.
Hatfield is absent, and Jackson.
Aye. The motion is approved.
Thank you very much.
Budget calendar.
It's that time of year, going through the budget, looking at dates between now and approval. We're recommending the attached calendar.
Commissioners, you get a chance to look over the budget calendar?
Yeah.
This is very similar to what it has been in the past, almost to a T. Sometime in October, we'll do our final budget hearing and approval. So I didn't see anything here that was out of the ordinary.
Just going to have a lot of work between now and a week from Friday to get the budget work out to the departments.
Welcome, Tammy.
I'm not going to make her do it all, so.
The chair will entertain a motion to approve the 2027 budget calendar as presented. So moved.
Support.
Motion by Call, support by Getty to approve the 2027 budget calendar as presented. Additional discussion? Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Campbell.
Aye.
Getty.
Aye.
Smoker.
Aye.
Junison.
Aye.
Bassett.
Aye.
Carlton.
Aye.
Hatfield is absent, and Jackson.
Aye. The motion is approved. Item D, FOIA denial appeal. I don't see anybody with us this morning.
No. No, the request came from a gentleman in Minneapolis. So we didn't expect him to travel today, but it's a appeal that we received, so we're bringing it to you for your consideration. This request was made to the Sheriff's Department on an ongoing investigation. The undersheriff, the prosecutor of all are suggesting that we uphold the denial. based on a stance of all the information that's in your report. I'm not going to go over it specifically, but so admin is here on behalf of all of those departments recommending you uphold the denial. The undersheriff is here if you have any specific questions.
This was for a case or a shooting in Berry County?
It's for a homicide.
Homicide, okay.
2 suspects were charged with that homicide, and they used the same report for both suspects. And the one suspect has already been convicted. It's not that we don't want to provide that information, but the investigation is still ongoing, and they're actually concerned that there's some witnesses that didn't want to testify to begin with. And if we release this information, they might not want to come forward again. So there's way more reason than that, sir, but I don't want to go into them at this time.
Absolutely. Okay. So there's no additional details on that. Any questions from commissioners?
I did have a quick question, if I may. I noticed that some of the requests were given to other departments to respond. Do you know, like, the status of that? Is this gentleman getting any response from those, or you may not be privy to that? I don't know if Eric...
Those departments are in the same stance as we are. And I just talked to the prosecutor before the meeting today, and if need be, she can be present to speak on her own behalf, but her feelings haven't changed at all.
No, she shared those with me last week, too.
Okay.
So both the prosecutor and the sheriff are recommending denial of the appeal?
Yes, sir.
And again, it's not that we don't want to provide the information, but not until after the second suspect's trial is completed.
Okay. Okay, understood. The chair would entertain a motion to deny FOIA Appeal 26-S008.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Tunison, supported by Campbell, to deny the FOIA Appeal number 26-S008. Any additional discussion?
Mr. Chair, do we vote A or nay?
You're voting to deny the appeal. Aye, so yes. Yeah, you would deny the appeal.
Okay. Good question. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Smelter?
A. Yes.
Bassett?
Aye.
Felton?
Aye.
Campbell?
Aye.
Getty?
Aye.
Hatfield is absent, and Jackson.
Aye. The motion is approved.
Thank you.
Or denied. Next on our agenda, John, do you want to read that?
Sure. I move to go into closed session in accordance with Public Act 267 of 1976, 15.268, Section AH, to consider material exempt from discussion or disclosure under security measures MCL 15.243U and cybersecurity information MCL 15.243Z.
Support?
Support.
Motion by Smelker, support by Bassett. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Quick comment,
Aye.
sorry. If you're okay, if we have such a small crowd right now, if we just stay here and have everyone leave instead of going downstairs, I think it would be easier for the presentation.
Sounds good.
If that's okay with our guests.
You guys okay if that one's not perfect?
Felton?
Could be a few minutes.
Aye.
Campbell?
Aye.
Getty? Smelter?
Aye.
Tennyson?
Aye.
Hatfield is absent, and Jackson.
Aye. Motion is approved. The board will now go into closed session.
So
Video will be posted.
the whole video will be posted. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, anytime they get interrupted with a YouTube video stream like that, we can start another one, but we can't ever start the old one again. So we'll post the entire video up and we'll make a note on the partial that was created that the full video is available here, and we'll link it, and we'll still.
Has that platform been somewhat unstable?
No, I think what happened this time is that the Chamber of Commerce didn't have any slides, and so we sat here listening to them talk for the amount of time that they did, and the computers are set to automatically lock after a certain amount of time as a security feature, so if you get up and walk away from your desk, it doesn't stay open indefinitely. But with no slides to go through and no adjustments to the agenda, the computer just locked, and at that point it cut off the stream. So we're going to make an adjustment to that so it doesn't happen again in the future.
Okay. We're back in session. New business, we have none. County Administrator's report.
I'll keep it very brief. I just want to reiterate what you all said today about Director Lehman. Director Lehman has been a great partner for the county since I've been here. I know Michael Brown thought highly of her as well. She will be greatly missed. Director Condon, I have enjoyed working with Rebecca a lot since she took over. So I would reiterate again, Commissioner Getty's comments. She's a breath of fresh air. She attacks problems. So really appreciate it. I know I irritated her on one project because I wouldn't move a grant forward without your approval. I just didn't feel comfortable doing it, and we were on a really bad time frame. But she's been a great partner with planning and zoning, and they're really going to tackle the blight and zoning complaints that we get across the county as a team, PCI, Health Department, and planning and zoning. So and then the chambers, sitting on that board, just hearing everything they do, I just want to, you have a great team across the county. Great partners for us to work with, and I appreciate each and every one of them. So we will be actually at the chamber event on Friday, so we'll be enjoying that. Hopefully we'll get out to see Director Lehman's going away, and anything else? Tammy, welcome aboard. Officially, today's her first day as Deputy Administrator, so
Stay after I want to talk to you.
I'm happy to. There'll be other duties as assigned. We have a lot to do. We have a lot to tackle, and it'll be busy the rest of the year. So.
Thank you. Now, do we need a motion to approve the discussion?
Yes, you're right. Thank you. We forgot to do that.
So moved. Do you want me to make a motion to approve the cybersecurity 5-year contract?
Just approve the purchases as discussed in closed session.
Approve the purchase we discussed in closed session.
Support.
Support by Getty. Motion by Smelter, support by Getty. Discussion? Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Tunison.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Bassett.
Aye.
Carlton.
Aye.
Getty.
Aye.
Smelter.
Aye.
Hatfield is absent, and Jackson.
Aye. The motion is approved. Chairperson support. I'm all set. We're at the beginning of our meeting cycle. Vice Chairperson support. He is not here. Commissioner support. Commissioner Tunison.
I'm not, Mr. Chair. Thanks.
Commissioner Campbell.
I wish I had nothing. I just want to say that I represent Johnstown out there, and when I started there used to be a big vacant field out back, somewhat of an eyesore. And I'm proud to say now that there's a very, very nice park-like setting, playground that is open to the public. They are in discussion now in their meetings of enhancing that with some final equipment they want to put on site, and it's all due to the parks giving a grant to them that got the vision started. Did it pay for the whole project? No. But let me tell you, it got the vision started, and they have a beautiful, beautiful facility out there. So that was amazing. If you get a chance to stop there, it's open all the time for anybody to be there. Also, I did attend Thornapple and DHS. Everything is really coming nice at Thornapple. Their staff is up. people on board that are using their facilities is up. Everything is in the right direction over there. And the other, last but not least, I want to say that I came into a very difficult problem for me as a commissioner. I found out a long time ago as a commissioner, when you get elected, that does not make you all knowledgeable of everything that happens. But we do have access to people that can give you that knowledge. I went to our administrator, I went to Commissioner Tunison, Commissioner Smelker. Eric did just an amazing job researching immediately. It did not take forever, which I appreciated. It was addressed immediately. I got educated. We had a great discussion on it, and the problem got solved. So I really appreciate what we have here as a team and the knowledge that is in our county if you only approach the right people.
Awesome. Commissioner Smelker.
We have airport tomorrow. Seems to be quite a lot happening at the airport, which is good. And I agree with Bruce. Things went very well with that problem. And I appreciate the treasurer working with us too.
Absolutely. Commissioner Gates.
I have Village Meadowville tonight, Thornapple last week, and Iki last week. So.
Commissioner Collins. Commissioner Bassett.
Attended, I think, 5 meetings since our last meeting. One big challenge in Prairieville that they're dealing with right now is what they're going to do about their police force. So there's a request on the table to get a full-time, have enough staff that there's full-time coverage. Right now, there's quite a few hours that they do not cover. And so it was a very long meeting, I think more than 3 hours. We're wrapped up in having that discussion of, do you go to the voters and ask them if they want to approve a millage? Do you try to take it out of the general fund and all of that? So they have a challenge in front of them to try to figure that out.
Have they done anything with short-term rentals? I know that was the subject of discussion for Prairieville Township.
Yes, exactly. And they have, of course, their own planning and zoning. They have had public meetings. People come. Almost every meeting that they have, someone comes and talks about short-term rentals there. And so, they're dealing with it at the township level. So
are they putting an ordinance together for it?
Yep, they are. And a lot of people have come forth with samples from other areas, municipalities, all that, looked at what the county's doing. So they're using that in developing theirs. Because, they have to come up with something with data centers and, battery centers and short-term rentals and all those same things that they're dealing with here at the county. So, a lot of concern.
There ought to be.
Thank you. Limited public comment at this time. Any member of the public wishing to support for 3 minutes?
Just one question. Do you want a resolution on the zoning preemption laws for next meeting?
Yeah.
If you have some samples, I'd love to see some.
Yep. I will. We'll put something together and get it out to you. I know there's several floating around MML and some of the other entities. So.
Mac has some out there, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's not a problem. Pull that, and I would encourage you when you see the draft zoning ordinance, please review it. I know they're tackling short-term rentals. I know it's an issue that's come up here before. I don't know if they're going the direction that I would have gone. So that's just a FYI to take a look at the ordinance when it comes out.
Eric, so who's going to police this at 2 o'clock in the morning when somebody's out there playing music?
That's a sheriff's department issue.
You know what I mean? I mean, this is going to turn into a fiasco.
That's a sheriff's department issue, like anything else, any other public, law.
Isn't it already, though?
Yeah, it is. I think the issue would be the use of the property. Catherine and I could probably talk about this forever, just based on what we've done in the past. Just the use of the property, creating the scenarios for things to happen. We have a lot right now. I think probably 6 or 7 on our lake.
Well, the scenarios are this: septics are backed up, certain things don't work. you're getting 15 people showing up to a house. So how you know what I mean? So parking.
Oh, there's a lot of issues
up here, right? So how are you ever going to address this?
You address all those things within the ordinance, and there's got to be a licensing ordinance involved, in my opinion, along with zoning. Primarily, to me, it's a licensing issue. So I think that's the issue we get. Is the one thing I've talked to the zoning department about is, as a county, if we adopt something, it goes to every township that in our jurisdiction. Some of the townships may be okay with it. Some may want different rules. So I really encourage them to look township basis. But their concern is they don't have the staff to do the permits, do the licenses. And I said, well, that's something we can work out. We can work on agreements on those type of things. So, but I know that's the initial direct. That's some of the comments they got when they did the public meeting over at the foundation, is that the townships are like, we don't want them, or we want them, but we don't have the staff to take care of it. I'm like, well, we can talk through issues. So let's just not go through down one path. Let's make sure we have continued conversations. So that will be an issue that pops up that will be at your table if at some point if we adopt a countywide one.
Good luck with that.
Commissioner Campbell.
I agree with Eric. Hey, I agree with Eric. Oh, my God. You have such a wide diversity of townships, and what may be very difficult for Yankee Springs may be very feasible in Johnstown. So the persons that I always feel the toughest for, and I hope it'll be taken into consideration because this is a very huge problem, is the ones that have spent their livelihood, their life, purchasing a house or two to have it opened for such a thing as a retirement income and things like that they've spent everything they have on it. I hope that somewhere there'll be some sort of grandfathering or something that, rather than just a slashing of the whole thing and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a slash of the whole thing. But I think the rules and how you govern them need to be looked at.
Yes. I do too.
By how the communities want them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on that note, what they talked about in Prairieville is that they are going to charge a fee to all these short-term rentals, and they could use that fee to fund the additional officers because we don't have officers at 2 a.m. to respond, and the county takes them a long time to get there, and so they're saying, yeah, we have these fees, and the fees will pay for the officer. But the fees come later than they wanted the officer, right? They want the officer now, but they're still working out what they're going to do with the fees.
Well, there should also be an inspection of some sort
Yes,
to make
all
sure
that.
that these things, everything's working properly. Okay, that's one thing that there's nothing. Okay, and I've heard a few people that have gone to places and all of a sudden, guess what? The well's not working. There's no water. The septic's backed up. And then you got 15 cars trying to park down a street where everybody else is down there trying to enjoy their lake property. So, I mean, there's issues that you open up a big can of worms.
So again, not cut and dry, but I want to put it on your radar to make sure you review when that comes down the road.
Yeah, and I'm not sure it's a county issue versus an individual issue because each township is different.
Yeah, the Syria Township probably is not going to have the issues that Orangeville has.
Yeah.
It
should be a township.
Lakes in the county.
Township should have to do
So each
that.
township should have a voice in that. And we did an ORV ordinance years ago, and some townships opted out of it. They didn't want to do it. Middleville went back and forth on what they wanted and what they didn't want for ORVs. Now they're back on wanting ORVs again. So, I mean, you're never going to make everybody happy. And when we did the ORV ordinance, there was a lot of angst because do we want ORVs in the Yankee State game area? And everybody had a different opinion based on where you were at in the county. So I'm not sure it's ours to decide for the entire county, but I certainly don't mind looking at it. So.
Well, and then we're staffed to handle permits and licenses and those type of things. We can do that end of it so that we can be a good partner for the townships that we work with. So anyway, just wanted to put that on your radar.
Okay. Good meeting. No limited public, no other business. Commissioner comments, Commissioner Hassett?
Yeah, I am attending the Small Town and Rural Development Conference at Crystal Mountain next week. Looking forward to it because some of those sessions, there's one in particular on TIFs, and I know very little about TIFs, so I'm really excited about that. But there's a lot of great networking. It's, small towns in Michigan coming together and talking about what we're doing. And Jennifer's going, or not Jennifer, but Bonnie and some of her staff are going. Really looking
I'm going to go
forward
as well.
You're going as well? Really? Are you? We'll
Late
chat after. Yeah, let's chat after. Oh, boy.
I got a feeling you're going to get an education on this whether you want to or not.
Yes, I know that, but
Well, we should ride together.
Oh, okay.
Commissioner Colton? Commissioner Yang?
We had 3 reports today by 3 of the hardest working women leaders in the county, and we're blessed with great leadership, but they just did a phenomenal job and condensing a lot of information, and I appreciate that. Want to tie that into my last comment is I know we're here for 2.5 hours. I might take some of the heat for that, but I would much, much rather still do this for a long meeting than meet redundantly like we were before. So just a plug, still prefer it.
Okay. I appreciate the comment.
Might need snacks, but.
Yeah. All right, snacks it is. Work on that. John?
I feel kind of the opposite then. That's probably what
We don't always agree.
I missed the town meeting. Yeah, kept me more involved, I feel.
Commissioner Campbell?
I'm just being personal again. We're inviting everybody to a big birthday party on the 4th of July. I'm sure everybody's aware of what that birthday is. No, it's not mine. It's 250 years for our country. I'd love to see commissioners show up at that. It's turning into a much bigger project and a much bigger interest in it than I ever imagined. And I love the opportunity to say when I see a commissioner walking across the field and maybe a chance to poke at you a little bit with the constituents. So I hope you can all make it out there. It's going to be a great celebration of 250 years, which is amazing.
We need to get some local media involved and maybe some regional media involved.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I've already talked to the papers and everything. That's all set. Got, for you, Dave, we got the fire trucks, the military Humvees, the mud runners, big celebration that starts at noon. At the flagpole, the local scouts will be raising the flag for us and things like that. We'll have bicycle giveaways, and everybody's getting involved. And I know Marcia isn't aware of this yet, but I was going to make her aware of this, is that we are having a pie baking contest.
Oh,
$100 for the winner. After the pie baking contest, we're having a dessert auction, which will involve anybody that wants to bring a dessert. And the funds that are raised from the dessert auction, half will go to our revitalized Delta group, and half will go to the fire department. So, as voted on by the membership.
How late does that day go? 12 to what?
12 to 6 o'clock. That's aimed at the youth, patriotism, and the celebration of our birthday. It will be a non-alcoholic event on our beautiful 13 acres on Crooked Lake. And at 7 o'clock to 11 o'clock in the evening, we'll have a live band inside that will address more of the adult population.
That's what Dave is.
Okay.
That's when we're showing up.
Yeah, I hope so.
Adult
It gives
conversation.
our bouncers a chance to go to work.
Yeah, we'll need it. I don't really have anything other than I want to thank Bruce, John, and Mike for their service. It was quite heartfelt that Bruce mentioned that this morning, and their patriotism and giving back to the country. Pardon? Yeah, and Commissioner Hatfield, I'm sorry, he wasn't here. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for what you guys gave to the country. Okay, so that's it.
Absolutely. Believe it or not, I have no additional comments. So we are adjourned. Thank you.